Hello, this is CJ McPherson. Today we're going to be taking a look at Cygnar's economy. To my knowledge, Cygnar runs an extensive network of factories connected by rail lines and has enough raw material in its nation to make just about anything it wants, provided they have the knowledge and engineering necessary to do so. From what I can gather, Cygnar makes, in factories at least, about 5 different main products. These are the products Cygnar is capable of making, and they're quite impressive sometimes in scope. The first product is tinned food. In an economy like Cygnar's that's mostly rural, most people likely live on a farm and eat the products of their farm and sell the rest. Possibly some of that money goes to taxes. But most of what they produce ends up being tinned in factories. And this is not a simple undertaking. This requires a lot of logic and a lot of science to do. They have to be canned, cooked, sealed. It's a big deal to have tinned food in an economy that's mostly agrarian. Likely, the 1 million or so people live in Caspia, and the probably a million or so people who live in the other cities, maybe 1.5 million who live in the other cities of Cygnar, eat mostly tinned food, maybe also with bread. So Cygnar is capable of making tinned food for about 2 million people every year. That is an absurd amount of tinned food. Next up is textiles. We know from the art of Cygnar, they make textiles for most of their soldiers, and likely produce textiles for most of their people too. That means roughly 8.5 million people, according to the books, have factory-made textiles to wear. This is a big deal and must be a massive driver of their economy. In most rural economies, textile manufacture is done as a cottage industry. That's actually the term for it. They make small amounts of textiles and weaves and looms in a home environment and sell them alongside food. This is how a lot of real-life earth cultures got their cloth made. This is not the case in Cygnar. They have a massive set of factories, or maybe a single large factory that produces textiles for a lot of people. They do not, however, seem to have a lot of dyes, mostly using plain and tan colors. They evidently haven't made good textile dyes yet, but I'm sure with the rapid advances in alchemy happening in the nation, they were probably not that far away. Next thing is machine parts, and these actually also count as the parts for warjacks. Warjacks look like they're made out of old factory pieces and old factory machines, and furnaces best suited for factory use, with arms and legs added onto them. It's quite obvious from the art. It's also obvious from some of the art that their soldiers and warcasters wear factory-made machine pieces, best suited for warjack use as armor. That's why everything has valves and pistons attached to it. And they have enough of these parts to make at least one factory for each of these main product types, as well as the machine pieces to make, my estimation, about 350 warjacks total. If you want more details on that number, I have a separate video about the logistics of their army. Next one is leather goods. Again, these are probably factory produced, as pretty much every soldier and every piece of art is wearing leather goods of some sort. Very high quality ones, they wear alongside textiles in about an even mix. This takes a lot of logic and knowledge to make, and it's likely a job no one wants, as manufacturing leather goods is not a fun job and involves a lot of unpleasant chemicals in air like this one. Last thing is easy to miss actually. Paint. You need to paint those warjacks blue. Probably their smallest economy, as it seems to mostly be intended for government and military use. Likely there's no paint on the inside of a Cygnarian house, for example. And this is an economy that prioritizes 2 things: manufacturing and warfare. They do not have meaningfully cuisine in the same sense that we do. They have food that's economical and produced in bulk for their people to continue to run their economy and their military. Their cuisine is being set up, and war and economy come first in their culture before that. Their culture defined and united by war, not by shared culture in the same sense a lot of real-world cultures are. But they are rich, ludicrously rich. They eat a diet that's mostly meat and have the economy and means to set up these many factories. They are wealthy and know how to use that wealth to the best advantage of their economy, their government, and their people. And that is very Cygnar. Thank you. McPherson out.